Hello everyone! Welcome back to this game. Okay, so it's been a full week since I last played, but I think I'm remembering what it was that I am doing. Currently, I am on a Remy run, trying to get Remy's good ending. I'm also hoping to find that pink dragon girl, Vara, and save her at some point. And also, I've been hanging out with a dean, because hanging out with a dean is supposedly required in order to get Remy's good ending. And we've hung out with a dean twice so far. Now is the point where we hang out with Remy again. So this is Remy's actual home? Here, I was beginning to think that he lived at the library. Thank you again for helping me the other day. Without you, I would have been trapped sorting books for a few more hours. Inviting you over for dinner is the least I can do. Potato? Okay, I'm gonna already save Scum because I wanna know what Potato is gonna do. I think I have a few potatoes, but potatoes alone don't make for a particularly good dinner. Maybe we can find something else to go with them. Anyways, is there anything in particular you would like to eat? Boy, oh boy, this game is giving me some options. Okay, I'll load back to where I was just then, because potato? I wouldn't necessarily say potato. I'd say it's no problem, really. It's no problem, really. Besides, I'm also here to learn more about your kind. Spending some time in the library is only appropriate. Well, my gratitude is yours regardless. Anyways, is there anything in particular you would like to eat? Anything will do. Steak. I'm not interested in going to that meat. I know I had that fling with Bryce, but we'll just move on. I'm not really a vegetarian. Anything will do, or steak? I mean, I'm not necessarily going to be demanding steak here, so anything will do. I happen to have some nice steaks left. How does that sound? Alright. This might take a while, so make yourself at home. With those words, Remy walked into the partially walled-off kitchen. There was no door, so I saw him open the fridge to take out 2 steaks before he set them on the counter. Soon after, he was already preparing the various ingredients with his somewhat clumsy paws. There's a little bit of noise of him trying to prepare the food with his clumsy paws. He was silent for a moment, then lifted his snout and looked at me from over the partition. What is it? I was just thinking about something. I could help cook if you like. Don't worry about it. Alright. I looked around the apartment as Remy cooked and couldn't help but notice the almost mesmerizing tidiness that permeated the place. Shelves were filled with books, scrolls, magazines, and other various trinkets. Suddenly, the repetitious noise of vegetables being cut ceased as Remy returned from the adjoining room. I'll be back in just a minute. He went down the hall and vanished through the bathroom door. What should I do? Well, I'm not going into the bathroom. I don't need to see anybody using the toilet, whether they're human or dragon. Escape while I still can? Oh, gosh, no. Let's see, shells, pictures. Wait, let's look at the pictures. I picked up one of the framed photos to examine it more closely. It was a red dragon. I guessed that it was a female of young adult or college age, though I wasn't sure, as it was still hard to tell without looking at the obvious signs. Remy and Anna... No, not Anna. Remy and... Dean were having an argument earlier, and I was definitely under the impression that somebody they knew died. I wonder if this is that dragon. Her crimson-scaled head was adorned with frills that ran down the back of her neck. She wasn't familiar to me. I mean, I have the option to look at the pictures again. I don't know that that would accomplish anything. Nope, there's definitely more pictures. Well, let's look at all of them then. I'll probably get an achievement. The second picture showed Remy in his typical attire. Tie, glasses, and all. And by the way, I am 100% certain at this point that he is not wearing a shirt. The last of the three pictures was of another red dragon who, as far as I could tell, was a fairly young member of its species. It reminded me of a younger version of Remy, although without his typical accessories. You looked at... Okay, first off, achievement unlocked, memories. You looked at Remy's pictures. Creep. The bathroom door opened and revealed the white dragon. As he approached, I felt my stomach grumble quietly. I barely heard the muffled sound, but when I saw Remy's ears perk, I realized he had more sensitive ears than I expected. Well, I expected him to hear that. I mean, look at these ears. They are probably sensitive. Hungry already, I take it? Well, I mean, it's been a week since I played. Lift your shirt. I'm gonna try that just to find out if I'm, like, lifting it playfully to rub my tummy. But I doubt it, which is why I'm saving. I pulled up my shirt and exposed my belly to the dragon's gaze. My hand stroked it in a circular motion, caressing the skin, hair, and body fat beneath. Do you think that's a lot of hair or just a little peach fuzz? Okay, at first I thought that was going to be cute, but then it stopped. So I'm just gonna go ahead and back out of that. I suppose so. Although, your stomach already answered that question for you. After entering the kitchen once more, I saw the dragon looked over the kitchen partition again. His mouth opened a little as though he were going to speak, but his brows scrunched with hesitation. Before I could say anything, he shook his head and continued to cook. Soon, I heard the sizzling of frying meat as the delicious smell of steak wafted into the room. Wafted? Not sure how to pronounce that word, don't feel like looking it up. Fueled by his fragrant odor, I slowly lost myself to daydreams as I closed my eyes. Is something wrong? You're salivating. Sorry, I sometimes drool when I sleep. It's nothing. I was just thinking about something. Well, the food is ready. Enjoy. I looked down and saw that a plate was already in front of me, piled with steak and vegetables. Remy was already eating, so I took the knife he had provided and cut off a small corner of my steak. I am very curious to know if Remy is using a knife as well, or if he's eating his steak doggy style. Then I pierced it with a fork, its 3 prongs penetrating the flesh unrelentingly. Slowly, I raised it to my mouth, and my tongue glided over the bare substance briefly as it entered my lips. I took the first bite, a delicately crisp exterior with a much softer and juicy inside. It melted on my tongue like butter as the taste spread to even the remotest corner of my mouth. It was almost perfect. So, what were you thinking about? Huh? Remy's words snapped me back to reality. You said you were thinking about something. Okay. I mean, whatever I was thinking about, it had me drooling. I don't think I was drooling over those murders. I'm gonna ask a very curious question. Why did you use a stove to cook? 'Cause yeah, kinda think of it. Shouldn't he be a fire-breathing dragon? Why did you use a stove to cook? I mean, can't you just use your fire? Well, for one, not all of us have that ability. Besides, we still appreciate the convenience that comes with appliances like this one, and not everyone wants to eat food cooked with someone else's breath. Breathing fire indoors is also a little unsafe. I see. And that makes a lot of sense. Well, I'm gonna keep on going. You live here by yourself? I do. Honestly, you are the first person to visit in a while. He spoke softly, and his gaze wandered. Okay, the option to mention the murders is gone. I imagine asking about the murders, or mentioning the murders rather, would have been kind of bad. So, let's ask about the pictures. Really? I saw those pictures on the coffee table. I thought you might have a family. Oh no, that's in the past. I'm not even sure why those photos are still there. And I don't actually have children. The picture of the young dragon was the product of a silly little program that combined photos. They'd take images of 2 people and create what the pair's offspring would supposedly look like. Well, that sounds pretty neat. I want to try that with a raccoon. Actually, considering I'm streaming online already being a raccoon, that would probably be kind of boring. Let's instead go with a skunk. So, me as a raccoon and a skunk. I've always wanted some children of my own, though. I see. How about you, Erika? Would you like to have children one day? Oh boy, this is actually something that's been on my mind often enough. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Is it possible? Probably not, for multiple reasons. Not only because of the transgendered situation, but I don't necessarily have a great home for children. I mean, all I got is one air conditioning unit in the window, so this is the only part of the house that is actually remotely cool during the summer. I think I would. Oh yeah, another reason why I'm not sure I would be a good parent, I'm not stern. I don't know that I'd be able to do a good job keeping my kids in line. Anyway, just being able to teach them about the world and watch them grow up, having a little family would be nice. I'd like that a lot. Oh wait, the murderers have come up again. I don't need to bring them up. I'm assuming that I don't need to bring them up. Anyways, how do you like the food? It's almost perfect, of course, so... Oh gosh. It is delicious, or I would marry this steak if I could. You know what? I would marry this steak if I could. Seeing how it is already half gone, I don't think this marriage would last particularly long. Soon, both of our plates were picked clean. I guess I judged your portion correctly, unless you want more. I'm good, thanks. That was an interesting steak. What kind of meat was that? Those were aurochs steak. Are you familiar with the animal? I'm glad that you didn't say cow. I may have heard of Arochsen before, but not enough to pronounce it. They are rather large bovine mammals characterized by their horns and body shape. We get a range of products from them, from meat and milk to subproducts like butter and cheese, in addition to leather, felt, oils, and creams. We even use their horns and bones for a variety of things. What is this saying? Waste not, want not? This sounds similar to an animal we have back at home. Speaking of unfamiliar creatures, why don't you tell me more about your species? Are you referring to me or all of us? Our society is comprised of a number of different species, which you have probably noticed by now. I guess all of you. Let's start with the basics. I am glad that we're about to have this discussion, because anytime this game starts talking about these dragons and their lifestyles, I am so into it, because it's kind of neat learning about this alternate world that took place 65 million years ago. I'm sure you're aware, but unlike the mammalian aurochs, we are reptiles. Though this makes me wonder about you. Based on your fur, I'd guess that you are a mammal, but you're very different from other mammals we know. In the same vein, you don't share many characteristics with our reptiles back home. And by the way, we don't have fur, but hair. Semantics. I wouldn't have really brought it up. What's the difference? There is none. There actually isn't one. They share the same chemical structure, so the distinction is pretty much arbitrary. I suppose it is just a way to distinguish the same structure in humans from that in non-human animals. Is that so? Interesting. I was wondering something. Are you wearing all those coverings to make up for a lack of hair? I suppose that's one reason why humans wear clothes. They also provide warmth and protection, and are used to differentiate us from one another. Sometimes uniforms are used as identification. Other times, clothes are just ornamental. What a person wears can tell us something about the person itself. Indeed. For Christmas, I asked for a variety of clothes. Normally I don't, but my family keeps buying me clothes every Christmas anyway, and 9 times out of 10, I don't like what they get me, so I decided to take things into my own hands this year. Don't tell my family. Oh gosh, I hope they don't watch this. That sounds complicated. We also have uniforms and wear some things for our ornamental reasons, though our uses aren't quite as extensive. Now that brings up an interesting question. Are you endo or exothermic? We produce our own body heat. Well, I would assume so. They're pretty big. That is unusual. Where I come from, all reptiles are exothermic. Unless you count birds as reptiles, I guess. But none of your reptiles are sentient, correct? Maybe it has something to do with our different brain structures. Maybe. Personally, I do think size matters. I'm not necessarily basing this on anything, but I mean, it makes sense. All those inner workings within that body. The heart having to pump blood real hard to get through a body that size. Probably just building up some heat just from the workload. Now that you've been in our world for a while, how do you like it here? I like the people. Didn't really get to see much of the landscape now that I think about it. The forest was kinda neat, and the hill with the portal is okay, but otherwise, that's all I've really seen. That is good to hear. Cultural differences can make things very difficult sometimes, even within the same species. I'm glad things are working out for you so far. Oh, I just remembered. I was able to save my game after all. Your interference was only a minor setback. Huzzah! Good job, Remy. You're awesome? That almost sounds condescending, so glad to hear it. I was quite relieved when I found out. You know, if that hadn't worked out so well, I would have had to consider making you play up to that point again for me. I wouldn't mind playing some of your video games. Is that so? Yeah, they're fun. I'd like to see what kinds of games you have here. Didn't we already establish that I, air quotes, don't play video games? Well, at the very least, I didn't know what a T-pose was. Which, you don't necessarily have to know what a T-pose is to play video games. I'll admit that. Anyway, I'll keep that in mind. Perhaps I can show you sometime. You know, I'm glad you're here. Since you arrived in our world, we haven't really had the chance to sit down and talk. I agree. It's been a busy time for me, as you can imagine. Oh, of course. And thanks for taking the time to pay me a visit. Hey there, Maddie! Welcome to the stream. I assume your test recording with the online game went pretty well? And hello there, Kiba. For those of you who just arrived, I am hanging out with Remy. So far, that's the only thing I've done, but I've had a steak that was made from some sort of cow creature that was like Aurochs something. And let's see here. I also noticed some pictures that Remy has of a kid that does not exist. Apparently there's this program where you combine your photo with somebody else's photo, and you can make a photo of what your potential kids would look like. And he has one of those photos. The photo of the person he was with, I think, is somebody who we have established wound up dying before the start of the game. Also, good news, Remy was able to save his game, so I didn't ruin the whole thing. I always have so many things to take care of that it's hard for me to find time to do something simple like this. Maddie says Aurochs. Yeah, ancestral bovinish thing. Oh, so you're aware of them, huh? Makes me wonder if that might have clued us into us being somewhere in the past. If we found out about the Aurochs before we learned about the timeline we are in. At least it worked out this time. You do have a point, though. I don't really know that much about you. I know where you work, but most of our conversations so far have revolved around things other than you and me. Why don't you tell me more about yourself? I don't really like talking about myself. Why not? I guess I wouldn't know what to say. I'm not really that interesting. I don't believe you. There's also the uncertainty of not knowing how another person will react to something I say. I don't want to embarrass myself. Hey, at least you told me that. That's something. I suppose. Anyway, now that you've seen my apartment, I'm wondering what your home on the other side of the portal looks like. It's nothing special. Yours is prettier. Actually, everything here looks nice in comparison to back home. Is that so? In some ways, I'm not really looking forward to returning, but it's not like I have a choice in the matter. I suppose you could always visit if you wanted to. It wouldn't be that easy, I'm afraid. There was an extensive process involved for selecting who would go through the portal, and I was only one of many applicants. I'm still surprised that I ended up being chosen. At least you're here now. Indeed. So, what have you been up to since the last time I saw you? You mean since I went into the kitchen to cook the steaks? Yes, that's what I meant. Really? No. Oh, I believed you for a moment. Guess you got me there, Erika. With all that talking, I totally forgot about dessert. I'm up for some dessert. Then I have just the right thing for you. Is it a cream pie with a cherry on top? 'Cause that was an option. I'll be just a minute. He neatly stacked our dishes before he took them into one of his forepaws and went back into the kitchen using his other 3 limbs. I couldn't help but think that it looked pretty awkward. Very fascinating, though. When he returned balancing a plate with a rather attractive cake slice in a similar manner, I realized he would have to make multiple trips to carry everything to the table. I'm the sort of person that would just ask first. So let me ask him if he needs help. Do you need any help with that? Don't worry about it, I can handle it. You're my guest, after all. Kiba says that's where that art came from, of Remy dropping everything. I'm not familiar with this art, unless it was somewhere in the game and I forgot. Or maybe it's art that is in the game and yet to be seen. Maybe it's the reward for getting Remy's good ending. Don't know. Once he placed the first cake slice on the table, he went back to fetch the other. When he approached the table the second time, though, one of the tiny dessert forks started to slip off the plate. Okay, Kiba says fan art. Okay. Remy reached with his free forepaw to attempt to save it, but lost balance without its support and fell over. In an instant, the plate, fork, and cake slice flew through the air. The dish and silverware clattered as the pristine cake crumbled into a sad heap on the floor. Aww. Are you sure it wasn't this art? For a few moments, there was silence as Remy and I looked at the result of his blunder. I'm sorry, Erika. Let's see, didn't really want dessert anyway. Yes, I did. That's fine, I'll just eat your slice instead. I'm tempted to say that as a joke, but I'm pretty sure it would just come off as mean instead. So you don't need to apologize. This isn't just about you and your cake. This always happens to me, no matter how hard I try. Aw, he looks so sad. You have proper hands. So do some of the other species. How can someone like me even be a librarian? Not a day goes by without me dropping a scroll and unfurling it across the room. But the customers don't care or pity me too much to say anything. It's a common sight for them, after all. This is about Emira, isn't it? I guess it is. I just don't see why someone like me got to be librarian when there were others more qualified for the position, or who were at least capable of not dropping the inventory on a daily basis. She makes fun of you for it. I knew it. I mean, why else would she have me do these tasks all the time? Sorting books, carrying things from one place to another. I'm trying to think. Have we actually met Emira on this run yet? Yeah, we have. 'Cause we got to meet her at the park first. No. No? No, I didn't go to the park this time. Oh well, we'll just chalk this up to time travel shenanigans leaching into my mind again. I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't work somewhere where my worth is only in the entertainment I provide. Why don't you look for a new job? These positions have terms similar to those of ministers. If I ended my employment prematurely, it wouldn't look great. How long do you have left? A while. Should I mention to resign? I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. Report her to superior. Endure it. I don't know. Let's go with the superior. Can't you report her to a superior or something? Not really. It's not like I could prove anything. Her public and her private demeanor are two very different things, and it would be my word against hers. I just wanted to have a nice evening with you, and now it ended up like this. I shouldn't have brought that up. Then let's not talk about it further. We can still share the other slice if you like. Alright. I helped him clean up, and after we were done, we shared the remaining slice of cake. It seemed unreal that someone with his personality could still eat his half with a single bite when I took much longer with my tiny fork. By the end of dessert, he seemed a little different, though I couldn't pinpoint how. Eventually, we said our goodbyes and I left. Oh, that's it? Superstition. There's a dean holding that blueprint. Trying to decide if I want to get that blueprint on this run or not. The morning sun declared the arrival of a new day and woke me from my vivid dreams. Memories of my home, enclosed within the towering perimeter wall, raced through my head again. And for the third time again, don't know how many times I've had this dream so far. Peaceful landscape outside the apartment window stood in defiance of these old thoughts. Rolling hills and blue sky were familiar to me now, and the purity of the sight gave me hope. Here's Sebastian again. Please come with me. Chief will explain everything once we arrive. Which one is this? Oh. This part's never fun. So this is where we find out that Anna's been murdered. I'll save her eventually. Blood we found on the first victim in town matches the DNA evidence found on the second victim at the power facility. So, I'm guessing this is another run in which Reza is the murderer, then. I think. No, it could actually just be matching blood with the administrator doing the murders in Reza's name, something like that. Hello there, Beer Force! Welcome to the stream. I just finished up the second encounter? Yeah, I think. Second, whatever. I visited Remy at his home for the first time, had a steak and cake. Was there anything in particular I should have made sure to do or say while I was there in order to get Remy's good ending? The hangout kind of ended with us eating a shared cake because... Yeah, I did check the pictures 3 times. So I assume that is key. Okie doke. Anyway, this is the part where I might be sent home, except I won't. So let's skip ahead. I missed an opportunity to see Adine along the way. Well, I will have to make sure to do that during my Adine run. Okay. Visit the store. Let's see if I can trigger something with Vara. Oh, it's her again. If you mix up the prescriptions again, then I can't help you. I can't refill this one. Just about to close, you'll have to bring the right one tomorrow. Hello, Erika. How can I help you? Just about to close up. Here on behalf of the police. Investigation. What are you still doing here? I already told you you had to come back tomorrow. Have a lolly on the house. Because she doesn't want it. What's the deal with her? Not sure what's up with her lately. This isn't the first time this has happened. One time the doctor forgets to issue a new prescription, another time she brings me an expired one instead of the new one. Isn't exactly the brightest, but this is unusual even for her. What do you want to know? Follow Vara! This is probably my only chance to do that. Actually, excuse me. Sorry, but we'll have to do this another time. If you say so. I'm very curious what it is I need to do in order to trigger this option. Luckily, she hadn't gotten too far, so I followed her from a distance. Minutes passed as we walked through the streets, weaving through an unfamiliar part of town. The young dragon looked small and lonely on the empty road. Before long, we passed the village border, yet she pressed on and stepped into the forest. I turned back once to gaze at the village on the far horizon, and in an instant the dragon was gone. I rushed to the spot I'd seen her last, and found the entrance to a cave on a hillside. Oh! So this is who was here before the administrator took residence. Before says, I think you have to be on Remy's path. I mean, I kind of figured, but I also have to wonder what about Remy's path triggers this. Perhaps the photos I looked at? When I peered inside, I saw Vara alongside a much larger orange dragon. The small dragon filled a bowl with a thick fluid and placed it in front of the other. Then she placed her hands on the large dragon's chin. Gently, she lifted its huge muzzle and guided it toward the bowl. But when she released it, the dragon's head slumped and fell into the liquid. The bowl tumbled sideways and spilled its contents across the cave floor. I realized then that other than what Vara had done, the orange dragon hadn't moved at all since I arrived. Well, dang, this is worse than I thought. I assume that there was a time skip of some sort. How did you even find out about this? I could tell something was wrong, so I followed her. I see. Well, good job, Erika. What's going to happen to her now? She'll be sent to the orphanage. The background check determined that she had a father, but the two hadn't seen each other in years. Can't you locate him? We did. Reese's second victim, the maintenance guy. That was him. Gosh dang it. I see. How did it even get this far? I don't know, but we'll certainly look into it. Some just fall through the cracks of the system. Being out here on their own probably didn't help. Do many of your people live outside the town like this? Well, some do it on principle. Others because they have no other choice. Houses and apartments can be expensive, and it's not unusual for us to use natural environments as our homes. Alright, I think we're done here for now. Don't forget to stop by the department later. I won't. Achievement unlocked, Stalker. He followed Vara. Well done, Erika. Here comes this part. This is the portal situation where there's gunfire. Let's stay inside and call the police. It does us no good to go investigate, because we get turned back by the administrator anyway. And I'm going to visit the police archives. Sorry, you. I'm kind of busy right now. Okay. We don't need to rummage through the trash anymore. I don't know whether I'll necessarily get the blueprint to a dean on this run. But I wouldn't mind having it on hand for future runs, now that it gets carried between runs. Now that I know that. Or... Well... No, let's save the blueprint for when I actually do the Adine run. Force is asking, did you find out about Anna from Remy? We didn't talk about Anna while we were at Remy's house. Well, let me save. And yeah, let's go ahead and look at the blueprint again and maybe grab it. Blueprint of building caught my attention. Found during their cursory investigation within the building. Nothing about it stood out to me. At first, both of its entrances were freed, accessible by the people in charge. Part of it runs through the sewer system. Access via hatch. Button counterclockwise. Did that already. Data encounter blueprint. Lists the structure as an independent living and research unit dated to the year 2047. Okay, I'm glad I'm looking at this again. Last time I was looking at that date, it threw me off because it's like, wait, dragon history was only 1400 years. But no, the 2047 isn't in dragon years, that's the human year. Anyway, name of company recognizable. Nanomachines were a thing until the event happened. Company is also into genetic engineering. The legality was kind of questionable. How did this building make its way into the dragon's world? I know! As I pondered this, a Dean's request came to mind. I used Bryce's machine to make a copy of the map for her. Bryce probably wouldn't approve of me giving evidence to civilians, but I was sure he would never even realize it. Achievement unlocked, Cartographer. You acquired a map for now. Oh good, I still get to play a prank. Okay, here we go. That should do it. I wasn't sure when Bryce was going to be in his office again, but when he returned, he would definitely notice this. Achievement unlocked, Prankster. You pranked Bryce. My condolences to him. Huh, look at the time. I better wrap it up here. Phew, it's getting late. I better head to the police station now. Do I have everything? Alright, let's see what Sebastian will say to this. There you are, Erika. Seems to me you're taking a liking to Bryce's chair. Could get used to this. Don't tell Bryce. Good job calling police when you heard Reza. What you got from me? What you learned about the map is fascinating. You did great today, Erika. Police department is glad to have you on our side. You saved that little girl. As far as I am concerned, nothing else you could have done would have mattered as much. I agree. Good job, Erika. I do what I can. Your help is appreciated. Short on staff. All for today. See you next time. Wait, but what about my prank? How do I see the results of that? Finally, a free day. What should I do? Messages on answering machine. Hello, this is Remy. I know you're very busy and probably have more important things to do, but I was wondering if you would like to visit Tetsu Park sometime. There's something I would like to talk with you about. Please, let me know if you can find the time. Have a good day. He wants to talk to me about something? I wonder what that's about. Please don't have a second message. Yay! Okay, I don't have an option with Vara at this moment. So let's hang out with Remy. Hey, Remy. Hello, Erika. Oh, you know what? I'm expecting a long scene here, and I'm already halfway through my stream. The stream's going fast. Let me go on a break, and then we'll go on this date. I'll be right back.